Happy International Women's Month to you. My name is Cynthia Wangui. I am the content lead for the Millenial agency here at the Millenial Digital. And today we have a lovely guest with us, the lovely Miss and soon to be Mrs. Sandra Kibet. Please tell us more about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Sandra Kibet. Soon to be a business. Story for another day. I am the CEO of Apparel, Modesty, and also the creative director. Yes, and I'm happy to be here. Happy International Women's Month.
Wow, that's so lovely to hear. Please, just kindly let us know how was it like starting out your own journey from getting this idea that you wanted to put that down? How did you come to it? It was amazing to become what you have.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and answer this as honestly as possible because my journey is not necessarily a very logical business journey because I have a very good relationship with God. And just one day while I was spending time with Jesus, He instructed me to start a business. And I have told the story that I did not have any money or any way that made sense to start a business at that time. So basically, the biggest challenge of starting Apparel Modesty was the fact that I did not know anything about fashion at that time. I didn't know how to begin, when to begin, but I entirely with the name of the Holy Spirit and certain things just came in place because I trusted God for that process. And I hope that answer makes a bit of sense.
Yes, I need to complete. And could you kindly tell us, this being International Women's Month, what does that mean to the fashion industry? And what does it mean to you as a woman and to women children?
First of all, I'm very passionate about women, and I'm also very passionate about how women dress and carry themselves. And one of the biggest missions that the Lord gave me when I started Apparel Modesty was to start Modesty because we live in a fashion world where we are hearing things like dress my choice, I can do whatever I want, no one should check me. There's all this, and God gave me this idea to re-establish dignity in such a way that what I make should represent Him when people wear whatever we are making. In such a way, if you buy Apparel Modesty, someone should look at you and see a very stylish person but also a very modest person, because there's been this myth that if you're modest then you're not stylish, like all the modest people are boring and all this. So it's about reinventing systems that have been here for years and years to come, and they're only getting better right now.
Wow, very international, very that's so unique. Yeah, and let's what are some of the challenges that you face? And you think of the that you faced, and how did you overcome them? And what opportunities are you?
One of my biggest challenges is leadership, and we also hear that what I would like to believe is a myth now, knowing what I know, that women are very emotional, we are not the most rational leaders. And even when you're hearing political arguments online, people will be like, women you can't have a woman president, because there's a meme that usually says there'll be a lot of countries that just don't speak to each other because people are very, they're mad at each other. So yeah, I went into a space where I'm this small girl. The people that I need to employ, all of them, I have never met someone that I employ that was younger than me. And you need to get these people to look at you seriously enough for them to trust you and even work for you, things like that. And even just calling patients is at first very hard because also I was a bit of a people pleaser. I'm an emotional person genuinely, and I don't want to speak to people in certain way. But business demanded for me to do all these things that I was too scared to do. And in leadership genuinely humbled to a certain extent. And I realized I just can't be lenient in the things I expect to get done. So my biggest challenge was getting out there. This looks like getting your employees talking to people, talking to clients, calling people to visit them, calling people to excuse yourself. So everything leadership that has to do with this challenge.
Wow. And I can see that really in advantage you say that when you are in a moment starting out to be on
Yeah.
some leader
With them.
that's amazing. So would you also tell us what does it mean or what's next for you? What's next for Sandra in this fashion world? And yeah, in this thing that you have in just impact. What's next for you?
First of all, let me just blow my own trumpet on this one, because this is my way of speaking thing. We are actually going to be a very big deal because I really believe God is intentional with the things that He wants to see. And in this case, you remember the vision of one. Modesty in style. We are inventing those feats that you cannot be. Modest and still is style. It's either you're picking one, you're picking modesty, or you're picking style. And like what I'm seeing myself as, and just apparel modest as well, is that you're actually doing things. One, because you have the Spirit of the Lord, and two, determination. And this, the heart of God just beats soul and people. Like, that's what we about. So how we women are carrying ourselves, what we are putting out there for the younger generation is going to be impacted by brands like Apparel Modesty. People are going to see people who are dressed very well and they're still very, very stylish. And they would want that because that's basically influence. Because you've seen the Western culture, how it has come in. Just we've been influenced to a point where, like, there is certain things you don't even know when we got here. Like, have you ever sat down and like, how did this work? Because I just remember when I was in high school, we could not wear like really short clothes at that time, even outside, because we couldn't. Yeah. So in our African setup, this is not things that we learn from ourselves, like just wearing whatever you want, whenever you want, saying your choice. So the same way we were influenced by the people who influenced us is the same way Apparel Modesty is going to influence women of this generation to become better dressers, to become better people. Because it starts, a step at a time. Because me, I'm taking over fashion, you guys are taking over media. And it's just like the body of Christ. When we get together like this, then it starts. So I'm most excited about that. Literally making the difference that matters to the world. Yes.
Wow. That is so good. I personally am looking forward and I can't wait to see the greater heights that Apparel Modesty is just amazing. And would you kindly also share with us what are the current impacts that Apparel Modesty has been able to set? And just let us know what impact and the ideas that you shared with us, and the ideas that you have made.
So there is certain things that we've done so far, and the rest of that I'm very proud of. And they were among the biggest objectives of this starting. And one of them was being intentional with my employees and actually giving them a better life. Because we've at least maybe interned or worked in companies where your boss did not know much about you, they did not know how you live, where you live, if you have any problems, you get your small money. But we made sure that we are not those kinds of bosses in such a way that the kind of money we pay our employees really matters to us. And we were actually also very intentional in doing a lot of women, because specifically we needed to start with women. Because this our brand is it's like a lady brand for now, and we thought about women brands a lot. So our first employees were supposed to be women because they understand style, women style better, women patterns better. So we were very intentional in bringing women on board, and woman to woman kind of communicates better. For example, I had a social media manager at one time who was a man, and he could not even understand when you say bust area. He would call it like bust area. What is bust area? So this word is very suitable for women genuinely. And I'm very proud that we've been able to onboard at this moment. We have 7 people on board who are working for us in very different departments. We have seamstresses, we have patients, and we also have quality control and logistics. All of them are women, and I'm excited, literally excited to have given these women a better life, because all of them had a very similar story, which was not very pleasing to me. They came from, well, environments that were not favorable to all. And aside from that, another thing we intentionally do that I believe is causing a very big impact currently is actually loving this people. Speaking life to them, listening to them. When someone comes late for work, my first response is, I actually ask them, what really went wrong? Is it something that, is it a character issue that we need to delve in? Or is it a just circumstantial issue that happened today that we need to solve, and then it's gone like that? So by this, we've managed to actually speak life into these people, and how they handle people has changed, how they handle their children and their families has changed. And you find most of their families now are even depending on them financially and in other ways, just because they're working at Apparel. So that has to be one of the biggest impacts that have made them come to this place.
Wow. Something like this is amazing to hear, and I'm sure that it's not something that she's part of this. It's not something that happens a lot, but it's quite impactful. And now, as tell the viewers, those who are watching somewhere in their homes, maybe not the taxes, what would you tell them if they're starting out with a business? As a woman, as a young girl, they're starting out, maybe something in fashion. What would you tell them? What is the advice?
So this would be the personal, because going back in time, like if I look at myself, Apparel started 2 years ago, roughly 2 years ago, and before I started Apparel, there was a lot of things that I was doing, and one of the main things is that I did not feel valuable enough, because most of the time in school I was not the brightest. Like I had 2 siblings who were very, very smart, so they made me look down even when I was not being down, and it got me thinking. Like I thought I was very unemployable because I tarmacked. I never got a single call back. Like that is a negative, or okay, good riddance. Like right now thinking about it, I feel so good. I never ever, I applied for hundreds of jobs. I never got a single call back, and at that point I thought I was very, very worthless. Like I was tying my work to one of those things, what I would have done at that time. People were doing so much, and I was just there by myself in my bed sitter. But looking at me right now, God took whatever I was at that time with whatever I had at that time, which was basically nothing, and He managed to make something that is impacting and will impact the world even further. So if there is anyone watching me who is feeling what I felt 2 years ago, I didn't feel very worthy at that time, I really believe that God can change your story. Just have a relationship with God, that is number one, and trust that He is a father to you and He has an amazing purpose for you. There is no one that God created who was just there as an accessory. There is no one who, quote unquote, alikuja kusifikisha wengine. Everyone has a very big purpose, and as long as you tie yourself to God, it is going to be revealed, and God is going to help you. This battle is not yours, it is the Lord's. You don't need to do anything to earn it. You don't need to perform for God to earn it. But as long as you trust in Him, He's going to take your story, make you something with whatever you have, wherever you are. So that is just my big advice to anyone watching this today.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I honestly, I myself am really excited. It's really an amazing testimony. It's an amazing. In 2 years, what has that taken? And wow, congratulations! Congratulations! Thank you so much for coming to do this interview. Thank you so much for being with us here. And yeah, it's my pleasure. And viewers back at home, we have had a really good time here, and we hope you have had too. It is my hope that you have been impacted, you have been inspired, and you have what it takes now to continue to do in your own journey. And to all the women out there, let me take this time as the host of this show. I'm going to wish you a happy International Women's Day.